Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello, I am Lindsay and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing a story time for you guys. This is probably the craziest story time that I have to tell you guys, the time that I almost died in the Death Museum. If you do enjoy this story time, please do hit that thumbs up button and hit the subscribe button down below if you're not already a part of my channel. I would love to have you. And let's get right into this crazy story time. So this took place right after high school. Me and my friend Jody. Jody has been on my channel a few times in my Disneyland videos. Me and Jody had decided to go on a trip to Hollywood, California and Anaheim, California to go to Disneyland and to go to Hollywood and see all of the sights that, you know, Hollywood has to offer. So we were, I think I was 18 and stayed at our aunt's house while we were there, and we saw this place called the Death Museum online and we were like, oh, that seems pretty cool, let's check it out. We go to this museum and it's a pretty small museum. It's like all like black and red. It looks like, you know, what it says online. And we go in and we have this like really small lobby, and this place kind of smelled a little bit weird right off the bat. I was like, why does this place smell like death? Like, it didn't smell good. Kind of like a musty, like, you know, old smell. A really big like buff guy at the I think he was buff, I don't know, he's a big guy. He was the secretary, so he was up front and he sold us our tickets, and he didn't really say much. He was just like, oh yeah, have a good time, like there's a lot to learn, just make sure you guys check out everything there is. So the first room that we went in, it was a serial killer room, so it had a bunch of like newspaper articles and writings and stories all over, like plastered all over the walls. So we spent a lot of time in there just reading them and checking them out, which was totally fine. Like, I was fine. We left that room and we went to the next room, and I can't remember, quite a few years ago, so I don't really remember the order in which the rooms were. But pretty much as the museum goes on, it gets more and more intense, like gory wise, and just a very intense museum. And I didn't know that. The guy didn't really say anything about that. If he would have said that, I probably wouldn't have gone in. So I went into the next room after that, and it had like a bunch of, I think, tools and stuff like that. Just a bunch of random like metal tools and stuff of that sort. So I was like, oh, I don't really want to see that, I'm gonna move on to the next room. And the next room after that was like way worse, and it was a really big room. I remember the first thing I saw in this room that really like switched in my head was there was like a TV like above, like hanging from the ceiling in that room, and it had like a surgery going on, and I was like, I was like, oh my god, I do not want to see that. That is so gross. And just mentally my brain was like, we are not taking any of this. I was like, So I like kind of sped through that room into the next like small little like transition area, which was like just like a small hallway between rooms, and the small hallway had like a case with a bunch of skulls in it. And so I was like, oh, this is cool, like I like skulls. So I started looking at the skulls, trying to like distract myself in my head. So I looked at these skulls for like, I'd say a good 1 or 2 minutes before something like completely random happened to me, and I honestly had no idea what was happening to my body. I lost my vision like completely. I couldn't see what was in front of me. I couldn't see anything. What it looked like was my eyes were completely open, but I couldn't see what was in front of me, and obviously that's pretty scary when it just randomly you lose your vision. So what it looked like was, if you know on those old TVs where you change it to a channel and that channel's not available or whatever, and it's like a black, gray, and white little fuzzy dots everywhere on this TV screen, that's what I saw. That's all I could see, and I could vaguely see the outlines of things, but not really if I looked at them straight on. So I lost my vision, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Grabbed like the wall next to me, and I like just went like this, and I was like trying to blink so I could see if I could regain my vision or whatever. And I was freaking out at this point. I was like, what happened to me? Did like something get in my eyes? I had no idea. I was like, what do I do? Oh my god, I can't see anything. I can't find my friend because my friend was still in the last room that I like skipped. So I am holding on to the walls, and I'm trying to feel my way through this museum, which I don't want to do. I don't want to touch anything in this museum, but I'm trying to feel my way through backwards, trying to find my friend. And so my friend sees me and she's like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, I can't see anything. And so I actually just messaged my friend and, hey, what do you remember from like when you saw me? And she's like, the biggest thing was your speech was slurred, your eyes were big and wide, like unintentionally huge and dilated. You looked really confused, sweaty and pale, unnaturally pale, girl, because you were heckin' pale, because I'm really pale already, but I was even more pale. And she said, when you said something like, I can't see, everything is fuzzy and spinning, her aunt like flew in. Her aunt like was in the room even behind her. Her aunt heard like what was going on. So her aunt rushed in, she grabbed my arm and she said, what Jody said is that she flew into scene like Superman, grabbed your arm and flung you all the way to the entrance. So yeah, that's so I couldn't see anything. Her aunt heard what we were talking about, that I couldn't see anything and that I didn't know what was going on. I could still stand and walk completely fine, but my brain had turned off. It was like not happening with my sight. Her aunt grabbed my arm and all I remember is her aunt's like, she said something like, I know what's happening. And so she grabs my arm and she pulls me, drags me to the front of the museum. And I, at this point, like, I felt really like queasy and just really gross. If you've ever had near pass out experience, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because that's what was happening to my body. Is it was in the process of passing out, but my body like wouldn't let itself pass out. Most people, when they pass out, it happens, you know, like that. It happens like you lose your sight and you just pass out. But for me, I lost my sight and I was still looking around. I was totally like okay everywhere else. I just couldn't see anything, and this happened for a good 5 to 10 minutes. I kind of wish I would have passed out just so I didn't have to go through all of this. But anyway, so her aunt grabbed me, dragged me to the front of the museum where the secretary guy was. And he's like, oh yeah, this happens all the time. We get veterans in here that pass out. And I'm like, if you would have told me that veterans pass out in this museum, people that have killed people pass out in this museum, I would not have come into this museum. Oh my god. Like, he's like, yeah, this happens all the time. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have bought a ticket. He got me a chair, I sat down, he got me some water, he put a fan on my face because I was really sweaty and just really nasty. And I had eaten that day. A lot of times when people pass out, they like haven't eaten enough that day, or you know, of that sort. But I ate. I always eat. I eat a ton of food. So I knew that wasn't it. It was just strictly the museum that like my brain did not like. Didn't know what was happening. I thought I was gonna die. I didn't know, girl. I didn't even know what was happening to my body. But apparently this happened all the time in that museum, so I felt a little bit better. Slowly regained my vision. After that, we just left and we went and got Subway. And after Subway, I felt so much better, because if you eat after you like pass out, even though I didn't pass out, but if you eat after you pass out or like have a queasy experience, it's very good for your body and it kind of replenishes everything. It makes you feel a lot better. If I would have passed out and like someone found me and woke me up and been like, oh, you passed out, I would have been like, okay. But if you just lose your sight and your body's still functioning completely normal, it's really scary because you don't know what's going on. I never passed out before, so I didn't know that that kind of stuff triggered my brain that it didn't like, or, you know, I had no idea. I had no idea. But it was quite the experience for me and my friend at the Death Museum. It was a pretty scary experience when it was happening, but now that it's been quite a few years, it's pretty funny and really embarrassing. But yeah, that was the time that I almost died in the Death Museum. I hope you guys found this entertaining. Please do hit that subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos from me. Hit the thumbs up button if you like these story time videos, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!